So, hello everyone in the five continents. Welcome to another edition of our International English Online meetings. This morning we have three ladies, wonderful professionals from ASOCOPI, Asociación Colombiana de Profesores de Inglés in Colombia. They are Adriana Sánchez, Claudia Uribe, and Kaithie Ramírez. Thank you so much, Adriana, Claudia, and Kaithie, for your presence on a Sunday morning.
Thank you for your invitation, Jaime. We're very, very happy to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are really glad.
And
Yeah,
so are we.
we're honored actually to be invited to this space. So we are going to share some of our thoughts and maybe important information for you just for you to
Thank you so much. Before you start your presentation, let me share my screen so we can talk about what we will be doing today. As you can see, we have a new logo. So you are the first group of teachers who are present in this new logo. We have here some people, and it's called International English Online Meetings World Educators Community. It's been 5 years. It's been 5 years, unbelievable. So today is December the 7th, and this is our 140th International English Online Meeting. If anybody wants to watch our past webinars, you can find them in our YouTube channel. If anybody wants to contact me, this is my Facebook account and our upcoming guest speakers in 2025. So this is our last webinar on December 21st. Gracia Mendoza from Honduras, Isabel Tapja from Peru, Rana Bilal Anwar from England, Mary Scholl from Costa Rica and the USA, and Raj Gill from Canada. It will be on December 21st, and we will be talking, reflecting about expressing our deepest gratitude to life. Okay, so who are our guest speakers today? Number one is, let me see, is Kaithie. She holds a BA in Bilingual Education from Institución Universitaria Colombo Americana-ÚNICA, a specialization in translation from Universidad del Rosario, and a master's degree in Education and Technology in Learning from Universitat Oberta de Catalunya. Okay, interesting. She has more than 10 years of experience in teaching English and technology in higher education and has participated as a teacher trainer in educational technology, methodology, and English. Currently, she is the Director of Innovation at UNICA and has been part of the BoD of ASOCOPI. Then we have Adriana. Okay, Adriana holds a bachelor's degree in Spanish and English from Universidad Pedagógica Nacional and a master's degree in education with an emphasis on English didactics from Universidad Externado de Colombia. She's certified as a Spanish as a second language educator by Universidad Rey Juan Carlos, Spain. She's currently pursuing a master's degree in leadership and multicultural studies at Sunny Buffalo State University. Adriana works as a primary school teacher at Colegio Nueva Granada and serves as the coordinator of the World Languages program in the elementary school. Her postgraduate teaching experience includes delivering courses in the Specialization in Bilingual Education and the Master's Program in Education at Institución Universitaria Colombo Americana-ÚNICA, as well as in the Master's Program in Education at Universidad Colombiana. And finally, the last but not the least, Claudia María Uribe, full-time teacher at Licenciatura en Lenguas Extranjeras con énfasis en inglés from the Faculty of Education and Humanities and member of the Education, Childhood, and Foreign Languages Research Group at Catholic University Luis Amigo in Medellín, Colombia. For more than 24 years, she has accompanied the education and English learning process of children, adolescents, and adults in diverse institutions in the city, and an active participant in forming teachers at Luis Amigo for 18 years. So these two aspects have raised her interest in the processes of teachers' education as a crucial element for improving schools' practices in terms of English and education in general and the significance of understanding teachers' political and leading roles in the Colombian scenario. So thank you once again, Adriana, Claudia, and Kaithie, because it's a Sunday morning and we should be sleeping, resting, reading books, drinking coffee, watching TV, but you decided to share your expertise and your time with us. So who is going to start? Who's going to be first?
Well, this is going to be kind of flowing,
Okay.
right? So we are going to share our screen and we are going to invite you to this journey with us.
So anybody
I
here can participate.
Of course, and in the
Okay.
Facebook Live as well, we have here our dull screen, so we will be reading you, of course, with a little bit of delay, probably from the questions of the Facebook Live. I also wanted to let our audience know that since we teachers work in so many different scenarios, this year, Claudia moved to schools again, and she's now the bilingualism coordinator at Colegio Horizontes in Medellin. It happened after we sent our profile and everything, so now it's like more experience. Please let me know if you're seeing my screen right now.
Yeah, perfectly.
Well, so welcome, Katie. We are going to be coming and going, one and the other. So just don't worry. Just let's get together to talk.
Well, we are very excited to share with you our this webinar as rekindling the teacher's essence, embracing the future with purpose in this 140 International English Online Meeting. And we are representing like 4 different institutions: Colegio Nueva Granada, Horizontes Colegio Campestre, Única, and ASOCOPI. So I think it's next. So as Jaime just told or will read something our biographies. So we are Claudia Uribe, Adriana Sanchez, and Kaithie Ramírez. We are all teachers from different scenarios, from different with different populations, but teachers. So Adriana.
Well, we met. Well, this is our agenda for today. This is what we are going to talk about. Who we are. Each of us is going to talk a little bit about her area of expertise, and then we are going to work on our conclusion that is basically returning to essentials. As I was saying, we move in so many scenarios as English teacher or languages teachers that in the end we forget that we are just teachers. They can call us professor, they can call us miss, but we're just teachers.
And
This
I
is
would
where
like
we
to say
met.
something.
Yes, Clau.
No, yeah, I was going to say this that we are from 3 different scenarios in Colombia. Adriana and Katie are in Bogota. I am in Medellin. Well, we met through ASOCOPI, and that's what Adriana is going to start sharing with you because for us that is really important. This is our community, one of our community of practices, ASOCOPI.
ASOCOPI is the Asociación Colombiana de Profesores de Inglés, is the oldest teaching association here in Colombia, even before TESOL. We have been active since 1965. What started just as workshops that teachers used to get together and have and talk about tips on how to teach better became the biggest and the oldest association in Colombia. Last year, we celebrated our 60th, well, this year, sorry, in Santa Marta, we celebrated our 60th anniversary with a very special event. And this is where we wanted to start. I mean, we were all members of ASOCOPI. We used to go to the conferences. Then Katie was in the board of directors. Then I jump in, and Claudia also in the board of directors. Then Claudia became the president of the board of directors. And we have been working We have been part of ASOCOPI for almost 10 years, but we worked as part of the board of directors for 4 years altogether. We just wanted to let you know what ASOCOPI is, because our essence is that we cultivate, support, and treasure the ELT profession in Colombia. And it's been 60 years of us doing that. And our association has growth, and there are many things that we do now. So our biggest event is the annual conferences. Next year is going to be in Santander, in Bucaramanga, Santander, Colombia, and it's going to be hybrid. So here are this is our information, our social media. We have different events, not only the conference that is now national and also international, but we have, for example, special interest groups, and everybody is welcome to join, even if you're not in Colombia. And this special interest group focus on different ELT aspects. We have children literacies, material development, assessment, CALs. I mean, we have a variety of special interest groups. We also have monthly webinars. If you follow our Instagram, you're going to find the webinars, and in our YouTube channel, they are all open. We have been doing this since the pandemic as an opportunity to keep getting together. Many of them are practical, many others are regarding research, and of course, new trends in education. Additionally, we have different opportunities for professional development. We have tailored workshops, diploma programs, express courses, and also we have been working a couple of times with Hornby funded initiatives supporting teachers, for example, in rural areas. So ASOCOPI is an organization that is very organic. It's made of teachers, not only researchers, because sometimes we think that these associations are only for doctors or researchers. So we work really hard with school teachers, with rural area teachers, even with our undergraduate teachers, so they know that they can belong to this kind of initiatives. And you are all very welcome to join us, because we really strongly believe that our communities of practice are key in keeping growing as professionals. And this is like our biggest learning from ASOCOPI. Working really hard as part of the board, and now as active members and representing now what ASOCOPI is. Now they have a new board, and they are doing an amazing job. And so it's alive, It's like our little Frankenstein. We are the little owners of this experiment. This is made of pieces like the Frankenstein monster, but yeah, it's a beautiful one. So we wanted to start by telling you what ASOCOPI is, because we are here, because we are part of ASOCOPI. Otherwise, probably you wouldn't even know that we are here celebrating in Colombia our Dia de las Velitas. So you are all welcome to ASOCOPI. Please take a look at our social media. It's beautiful what happens here. With just this brief introduction, I want to introduce teacher Kaithie Ramírez. Here is a beautiful picture of her in ISTE in San Antonio, Texas. And of course, just like a regular mortal, in class, because this is who we are. No, we go to events, conference, workshop, and then run from class to class, from class to class. So Kaithie, what are we going to talk about today?
Well, we are going to talk about some interesting things that are happening now, and I'm pretty sure that it is not only happening in Colombia, but all around the world. And there are some challenges and new scenarios that we need to pay attention to. Can you change the slide, please? Thank you. So I wanted to start with this title that says that the world has changed. So after the pandemic, we have been experiencing a lot of changes and a lot of things. So we have this accelerated change in education. So we are now surrounded by many, many things, many tools, many tech tools, and we have a paradox: more tools, more uncertainty. So we have we're living in the moment where technology is or has permeated everything. But there are also many people that do not know what to do with all these things. So are we preparing teachers for the real world or for the past? So I want you to watch a little part of a video that I found that I think it's very, very interesting. So it's going to be only 2 minutes of this video. can you tell us if you can hear?
With the trends we're observing and the technologies and practices emerging around us that are already shaping the future, we can start to picture who we'll become and where higher ed is headed. This section explores bold future scenarios showing where we might be 10 years from now. Dalen finishes with a few final pencil scratches on the notepad in front of him before setting the pencil down on his desk. Done, he says to himself as he looks up from his notes, an expression of satisfaction on his face. He wheels his toes underneath him and feels warm sand. Just ahead of him, waves crash into the beach beneath a slowly setting sun. Scanning left and right down the shoreline, he sees miles of no one and nothing but palm trees and tall grass against lush green mountains. Desert paradise. Save for Dalen sitting alone at his simple wood desk with his notepad and pencil. Ding! Dalen taps his ear. I've analyzed your notes, a disembodied woman's voice says. It's Dalen's instructor, or at least a voice programmed to sound like Dalen's instructor. Your critical analysis is sound, though I'm concerned some of your evidence may still be lacking. This is good enough for today, but let's make more progress tomorrow. Thanks, Teach. See you tomorrow, Dalen says as he taps his ear again. He swipes his left hand and a large screen appears in front of him, hovering just above the sand. He calls up Season 2, Episode 5 of his favorite show, a zero-gravity space cooking competition. The screen blinks on and the show intro starts to play against the sound of the waves. Ding! Dalen taps his ear. You've reached your 5-hour limit, powering down to ensure optimal physical and mental conditioning, a man's voice with a proper English accent instructs. Bit by bit, the ocean waves and sky and sand and TV screen all begin to blur and pixelate. Dalen's vision goes dark. He removes the visor from his head and looks at the dorm room around him, blinking to get his eyes to focus. Sirens blare from somewhere down the street. Rain pounds against the window, unrelenting for the third straight day that week. Dalen's roommate is asleep on his bunk, visor still on his head, faintly playing sounds of something like a carnival or theme park. Dalen sets his visor on its charging dock. 5% charged, it reads. Dalen sighs. For growth, we see a shift away from face-to-face environments toward virtual ones as AI and virtual reality technologies grow unfettered during a period of ongoing polycrises.
Okay, there. Click. All right, so this part of this video showed us something that maybe some years ago was kind of futuristic, but now we are living it. Yes, the learning and the way people learn is different. Yes, and education is not now just in a classroom. It is happening through many devices, through virtual reality, through artificial intelligence, through many other things that most of teachers are not necessarily prepared. So we have 4 challenges that universities may be facing right now. For example, number 1, the speed of change, technology and artificial intelligence and automation. Our students are now having access to more information, to more tools, and most of them are just using them through trial and error. Are they doing it right? Are they doing it wrong? That's something that we tend to say, oh, they don't know how to use it, but they are using it. So what are we doing to teach these students to do it right? So we as teachers require to know what's going on in this technology's changes. We need to know, or we need to learn how to use, for example, artificial intelligence. Not just to create a prompt, but what are the risks? What are the real problems of artificial intelligence? What are the good or the best practices that our students can have? So, well, one important challenge. Other challenge that are especially for teachers. We have fear, we have digital divide and overload. Many teachers are experts on their areas of expertise. They know how to teach, they know their topics, but we have this fear. Now I don't know how to use this technology, so I can teach better. And some teachers are reluctant today to use it. And some teachers are really good at this, and the other teachers are not just, I'm not saying that they are bad, but they don't want to use this technology. And of course, we have also the overload. Teachers are busy, and they are busy not just in the teaching practice, but teaching requires other paperwork, grading, giving reports, and these things are taking more time that teachers can manage. We have other challenge, and is that as we are living in this immediate culture, because we have access to everything through this device. We can click, we can search, and it's immediate. And it's something doesn't load or gives me the information in less than 30 seconds, I don't use it and it's not relevant. So we are impatient, or students are impatient because they want everything like really fast, and they change from one task to another and they are not focused. And everything that now has relevance in 30 seconds, in 1 minute, in 1 hour, doesn't have it anymore. And imagine if that we are living in this mood of changing and immediate things, where learning is different. So I cannot expect that my students are focused in a lesson that lasts 2 hours when they have access to everything in their cell phones with just a click. So everything in the classroom has developed in different ways, and our students are developing their skills in different ways, and we need to have that in mind. And connecting to the last one, I'm sorry, Adriana, can you just so we have this culture of immediacy. Maybe so you have heard of micro learning, so where you can take a micro class in 5 minutes. You can learn how to unblock your Facebook account, let's say, or you can learn how to create a formula in Excel in just 5 minutes. And learning is like this now. I need to learn everything fast. If it's not fast, it's not important for me anymore. And we have all the social media. My students, in my experience, I work with young adults, and they say that they learn many things through TikTok, because in 30 seconds, someone in any part of the world teaches them how to do something. And this is the reality. Click. So we have this risk of not transforming. So the first one is the loss of relevance. What we teach now might not be interesting, important, relevant in a few, let's say, years, but I'm too too positive, maybe less. So we need to keep on learning. Teachers should be long life learners, and today more. We need to learn many things right now, and we need to keep updated into our teaching practices and trying to integrate in technology, trying to sharing what other teachers are doing and learning as well. So that's why communities of practice are important. Click. And this has a lot to do with declining in enrollment. In Colombia, the students that are enrolling university is decreasing in alarming rates. I don't know if in your region or if your countries, you have the same problem. I think yes. So we don't have students because of many things, because of the economy, because studying at the university is expensive. Even if you're studying in a public university, you require some resources. Also, programs are too long. In Colombia, a career lasts 5 years. And the return of that investment in money and time takes too much to seeing the results. So they are not seeing like any worth to spending too much time and spending a lot of money in these careers. So the decline is huge. And also because the birth rates is also is decreasing. So we are not having babies now. Click. And this has taken the students to migration to more flexible institutions or to more flexible programs where they are not in a classroom from Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., but they are choosing more virtual, online, shorter programs. And many of them are not even finishing them. Click. And then we have that teachers are having like other scenarios and are having to migrate to other sectors, and teachers are used, let's say, and I apologize for that term, to teach other bad teachers. So other sectors begin to train teachers, not the schools of education. Click. So what's next? In the report of this year of EDUCAUSE, the Horizon report, the Teaching and Learning Edition that I ask you to go and Google it. It's free, you can access that report. We have this important highlight. It is that higher education is undergoing major transformation driven by current global pressures and rapid technological advancements, especially with AI and virtual reality, which are redefining student engagement, cognitive understanding, and how learning is assessed and valued. This is something that we need to be very, very aware of. We are not teaching the same students that we taught 3 years ago. We are teaching students with a huge different view of the world of technology and a different way of learning. Click, please. So there are many important things that we need to think about. So as technology reshapes how students think, learn, and engage, we need to think of investments not only in tools, but also into the changes into the curriculum, changes into the administrative part of the institutions, and changes into the government policies about technology and education. So how can we, well, in the imaginary world where everything works perfect, how can we do that? So we need to start thinking of the connection with the productive sector. We need institutions, universities should be talking to universities to see what the real needs are in the productive sector. So the schools, other universities, institutions, and any other companies that are requiring teachers, they should tell the schools of education what are the abilities, the skills, the requirements that teachers need to have just when they graduate. We also need to think of the integration of artificial intelligence for the students and teachers. Teachers should know how to use technology, but also students need to be taught how to use the artificial intelligence. We have students that are using this tool now, but and that is the big but. Are they using it right? Well, we need to teach them how to use it. We need to create policies, we need to create guides, we need to give them examples, we need to give them real experiences using this AI. And remember, artificial intelligence now is changing so fast that what we learn today, at this moment with artificial intelligence, in 2 months, there is something new about it. So we need to keep on updating the information. There is also very important things here. As we require that students have new skills and everything, and they are not waiting 5 years to get the degrees or 3 years, we need to start thinking of integrating digital badges while they are learning. Why? They can certify that they have skills, that they have some abilities to do something. So we need to certify those abilities so they can join the productive sector earlier for different purposes. They can get more experiences just before they graduate. So they do not only have their degree, but they also have other certifications that they can use to prove that they know things and that they have skills, specific skills. And the last one that has to do with the flexibility of the curriculum. In many institutions, the curriculums are very fixed. They are created by experts, of course, but they are not flexible. They do not integrate different things like hybrid or online things that the students can have variations in the way that they learn. Click. And we have this something that I think it's amazing that you need to pay attention to. As Adriana showed earlier, this year I had the opportunity to travel to San Antonio, Texas, to participate in the East ASDCD conference, which is an international conference, a huge one about education and technology. And Richard Clara, sorry. Someone has the microphone.
Jaime, can you make me co-host, please? And I'll help out with that. Oh.
Okay, thank you. And we will have this profile of an AI-ready graduate. And these are 6 different parts of this profile. Click. So I have the first one, which is the learner. So we want our students to be students that use technology and artificial intelligence, right? So we have the student learner. The student learner use artificial intelligence to create plans for learning, new skills, get unstuck, and seek feedback to improve on understanding. Click. We have researcher. This is a student that uses AI to investigate and analyze topics, evaluate claims, and compare sources of information. Click. We have the synthesizer, that a student that uses AI to synthesize, remix, refine information into formats, levels of complexity that meet their needs. We have the problem solver, the student that uses AI to brainstorming partner to generate new ideas and explore a wide range of possibilities. The connector, this student that uses AI to increase human collaboration, including overcoming language barriers and finding common ground. And the last one, the storyteller. So we have this student that uses AI to present and communicate complex ideas through text, image, audio, video, and other media. So if we have this profile, we can redefine curriculums, redefine how can I say this? Redefine what we want our students to be, and our students to be ready for this upcoming future, for the future of 1 month. So these are like some important ideas that I consider we need to start sharing, and this is the best space to share these these ideas and some important things that I consider we want to have in our universities, in our schools of education and everything. So what is our teacher training university on the 2030? We require digital ecosystems, hybrid learning with AI, ongoing engagement with sectors, teachers as augmented mentors. Remember, we teachers, we are not the ones that have the knowledge, but we are the ones that guide, and we should be mentors. And the last one, including micro credentials for specific skills. So I think we are going to continue with teacher Claudia.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Before Claudia starts speaking, Mary, hello, Mary, good morning. You shared a link when Kaithie was presenting her topic,
Yeah,
and I guess
that's
you
the link
have,
to the article she mentioned.
sorry?
It's the link to the article that she mentioned.
Okay, thank you so much. Anybody here in the audience who wants to say something, make a comment, or ask a question about this very important information that Kaithie has just presented? Anybody here?
Well, I want to say good morning, and I really appreciate. I actually looked up Richard Kulata too, because I feel like this is what you're sharing is really the vision that we need to have. We need to have the profile in mind in order to figure out what we need to offer our students. And
Yeah.
it's about changing. So I really appreciate the reference. And he's got some videos that look really interesting. So thank you for that. And I'm looking forward to the next part.
Yeah, and before and also besides the profile, also the same problems we have here in Peru with the students. You have all the problems of being impatient and everything else, and I'm sure that everywhere else students have the same problems. So next presentation, please. Next teacher, next professor, next friend, next colleague.
Mhm. So as we were saying, in the case of Katie works for the university and in all the programs, no? Undergraduate, postgraduate. Additionally, she's the director of innovation. And this is a conversation that she was having last week. What are we going to do with this lack of students? And now we are moving with Claudia. You know, we are going to have the vision of a teacher educator for 20 plus years that is now working at a school. But Claudita, we are all yours.
Okay. Good morning again. As Adriana says, I have been a teacher for 31 years. And in those 31 years, I was a teacher's teacher for 25 years. And I have lived and I have experienced what Katie was, telling us, how important it is for us to really understand what the needs of our communities are and the changes our students are having. Fortunately or unfortunately, technology is telling us that everything is faster than we think, and that learning is super fast. We Something that we know it's not always the same, right? Learning takes time. It's not just giving them the best. It's more than that. It's creating a community of practice that starts in the undergraduate program, continues during graduate programs, but especially when we are teaching. And today I want to address the importance of creating a community of practice. And I would like to think, or I think that ASOCOPI is a community of practice, that this group of amazing teachers that are here today is a community of practice, and we are taking this exercise seriously and consistently, because it's not just having some meetings, it's like having meetings, it's listening to our voices, and it's like creating things together. Click. Well, we need to build strong communities of practices. And this community of practice is a group of educators, as we are here, who share common concern or passion. In my case, one of my concerns is fostering community of practices that go looking for deep learning. And these communities are always willing to learn how to do it better, how to answer the questions that our teachers have, that our students have, that our communities have, in order to develop an ongoing social learning system. For a community to become a community of practice, we need mutual engagement, I think is that the one we have here today. We are here on a Sunday morning, because we believe in the power of working together, right? Second, we have a joint enterprise. We really think that you know something that I need, and I know something that you need, and working together, we are coming along with best results and ideas for our teachers. And we need a shared repertoire of tools or routines, and I like to call them rituals that enrich the scenario where we are teaching or where we having these discussions. These communities of practice, which I love, this is one of my dreams, focus on learning, not just on teaching. I mean, since Adrian, as Katie said at the beginning, we teachers are learning all the time, and we are learning through a collaborative culture. So we know something and we share it, and then we build something together. And we are focusing on results driven accountability that are going to be helping the agency of our teachers and the agency of our communities. It's not just going to certain conferences or online programs and to get diplomas or certificates. It's like what we are going to do with that, and how our community is really answering to the needs of the communities where we are living. And this should lead to a deep adoption of principles. I don't know if it happens to you, but I am right now in a school where we are always, most of the time, looking for new things in a very, like, in a hurry. And I say, no, 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 let's take it easy. It's not because something is new, we have to adopt it. We need to be careful with the adoption of the ideas in order to be, can I say this, faithful to the principles of education we believe in order to offer the best to our communities, in this case, teachers and students. And a community of practice is also a research exercise to help the school communities. One of the criticisms we have is that sometimes research, I'm sorry to be so honest, is just to publish, okay? And it's just to use the information, but research is not going back to the places or to the people that were involved in this exercise, and it's not helping to modify the practices. So communities of practice need to demand researchers to belong to the communities and to serve the communities. And when I'm talking about communities, I'm talking about this relation that should be strong and consistent between universities and schools, between schools and other partnerships. In Colombia, a lot of associations, a lot of universities develop exercises of research, but teachers in school are part of the exercise, but their voices are just here for the results. And I know that right now I'm being very strong, and maybe some people are not going to like it, but I have to say it. It's a Sunday morning. I was invited to share my ideas, and this is a very important aspect. If we are developing research with other teachers, we need to work together in order to know what is best for our communities. And in this way, what we're going to do is to really uh, tackle the problems we are having, and build theory about learning and about implementation in our communities. Thank you, Adriana. Let's stay here. So when I was talking about mutual engagement, it's like, definitely we need to participate building relationships where I am heard, and when I'm just listening to you, and when we are working together, for example, in peer observations, in feedback cycles that are helping us to grow together in order to answer a situation we have. And this happens when we have a joint enterprise. It's like we have a shared purpose. ASOCOPI shared purpose is nurturing English teaching in Colombia. my purpose when I am trying to build community of practices in my school is enhance disciplinary literacy across grades. Is that all the teachers that I am working with and working for are working together, analyzing how things are happening, and we are setting goals and tracking progress that are going to be the best answers for our community. And if these two happens, mutual engagement and this joint, we are going to have a shared repertoire. So we are going to be having common tools, common resources, common practices, and an adoption of beliefs that are going to help our communities to really develop a better process of learning and a process of teaching. The things that I have experienced working with this, it happened to me when I was part of the board of directors in ASOCOPI, when we were working with the Hornby Trust, and also as a university teacher or professor, is that we definitely find the importance of collective expertise. Someone has something that I know, and these teachers uh, are going to be sharing all their strategies in order to reduce isolation. My invitation as a human being and as a teacher is that we need to work with the others. Isolation, and right now with all the artificial intelligence, with all the ICTs we have, we need to work together. And that's why I accepted this invitation today, because this is like something that shows the importance of sustained professional growth, right? We are learning together continuously, not just in one session of professional development, but we are connecting our ideas. And I am pretty sure that after this meeting today, we are going to continue working together, thinking of how teachers all around the world can have all these exercises, and we answer to the needs of our communities. And we are bringing contextual solutions. I don't know if you have thought about this, but sometimes uh, what we receive is a solution that is like one fits all. And that is not true, right? The way we address education in Colombia is not necessarily the way we address education in Peru or in Canada or in all the different countries. So we need to start looking for working together, but adopting the practices that are most the best to our schools' real challenges or to our university real challenges. And this is going to take us to innovation and improvement, right? Because community of practices are going to tell us into an iterative design and problem solving, where using a cyclical process, we are going to be uh, discussing, testing, and then determining if what we were doing it's okay for our scenario or if we need to change it. And I'm talking about learning materials. I'm talking about programs for our uh, teachers, for our students, teachers, and for all the members of our community. And something that for me is the best is teachers' agency, that teachers really understand that they are the core of this exercise. Unfortunately, sometimes in schools, uh, teachers are not heard. Teachers are not taken into consideration. They are just told what to do. And that's why sometimes we have these issues with uh, learning in our schools or in our universities, because we're not listening to our voices. We're not giving agency to our teachers. So they are not feeling ownership of the process, and they lost engagement. They just go and repeat classes. Remember that if you want to interact with me, it is okay. And when I was planning this, I was thinking, okay, but how do we create a community of practice? And this is like a blueprint that I did. I thought about it, and artificial intelligence helped me beautifully place for you. So we need to find these follow these 5 steps. The first is like we need to define the shared purpose. Why are we getting together? What is the goal of our community of practice? What is the goal of our workshops? What are the goals of studying together? What do we want to do? And how are we ensuring that all the voices are heard, not just the voices of the leaders or the voices of the ones who thought of the idea? And the second aspect or the second step is let's establish the governance and the roles, right? We need to form a steering committee. ASOCOPI has it. It's a board of directors. I imagine you have it because Jaime was introducing some of you and the roles you have, right? And it's like, okay, is this committee we have like showing a diverse representation and besides rotates in terms of leadership and in terms of roles periodically? Why? Because if I change what I'm doing in the community, I am like seeing all the roles, all the activities that I need to have, and I am co-creating, and I am definitely aligning with the goals that we need to answer. And that will be the second one. And the third one is like, of course, we need norms. We need to set norms for participation. How are we making decisions? What protocols do we have? How are we maintaining transparent communication channels? How are we publishing the ideas, the decisions, or the new products as the community had? And how are we enriching other communities with the creations we have? Because a community of practice is not just for the group that belongs to that community of practice. We need to start sharing with the others so other teachers, other professors are listening to our voices and maybe are learning with us and from us. And then we need to develop a shared repertoire. Everything that is being produced, videos, podcasts, protocols, lesson plans, needs to be accessible for others, right? Not just articles for journals of research, which is amazing. I like that a lot, but also something that is um, easy to be accessed and that helps simple teachers like I am to understand other things and to modify the way we are teaching or the way we are seeing learning. And the fifth step is to create engagement structures. How are we having regular meetings? And in those meetings, what decisions we are making, and if we are using a new way of teaching, allow me to be ambitious, how are we observing our communities, our community members and the way they are developing the exercises and how we are making changes and adjusting all these products or all these protocols we are developing. So we are definitely creating a channel of collaboration. It's not just getting a certificate or a diploma or listening to the others. It's getting together, working together, and looking for better ways of doing what we do. And the sixth one is ensure responsible development. How are we using an ethical guideline that assure that this is the product of a community, that we respect our feelings, that we share only the information that we were agreeing on sharing, and that we are really having a continuous feedback and documenting everything for progress accountability. As you see, this community of practice transcends just getting together and talking and unfolds on creating a strong perspective of belonging, sense of belonging, and doing something for the community or for the communities we are working. Adri, thank you. Click. Well, benefits. Being here, for example, is one of the benefits of belonging to a community of practice, is that we are going to have collective expertise. We have access to talk to other teachers, to other professors in different scenarios, and we need, then we share diverse knowledge and best practices. I think that listening to each other is amazing and it's fundamental, because you're doing something that maybe I'm doing, but I didn't know someone else was. And that is amazing, because this is going to help me to ask you uh, how your things are going, what challenges have you met, and how have you solved them, and we work together, and we are not sinking, but we're swimming together to a best place. And this is going to lead into innovation. Sometimes people think that innovation is just technology, but we're doing innovation in the way we are transforming our curricular design, right? We are co-designing solutions to real classroom challenges, and that maybe are different in every country, but they have a common core. And these it's going to bring us, or to offer us, sustainability. Why? Because when teachers work together, we share ownership and we work together happily. I don't know if you have experienced this, but a lot of teachers drop teaching because they don't feel that they have a community, that all these issues we have in our scenarios are very difficult, and we don't have someone to talk to, we don't have someone to work with, and then we lose our commitment. And this definitely it's going to have an impact on our students. And this is going to help our students become better learners right now, or at least more motivated learners. As Katie was saying, students want everything fast, right? They want everything like, TikTok or a tutorial. So we're going to be showing them that, yes, we can use all those elements too, but those are just the beginning. They not necessarily mean deep learning outcomes. And click, Adriana, please. And I think, or I strongly believe, that a community of practice is a catalyst for change. And this is going also to be transforming our literacy in our communities of practice. The role we're giving to reading, the role we are giving to writing, the role we are giving to studying, and not just teaching the language. And I think Adriana is going to continue with this as a simple code, but as an element that is going to empower our learners in order to develop critical thinking abilities for the moment they are living, and in order for them to collaborate and engage deeply, not only with content, but also with other communities. When students see that a teacher belongs to a community of practice, they start belonging to other community of practices. And I'm not just talking about university students, I'm also talking about any regular school students. So we need to continue uh, moving here, creating a more dynamic and socially situated practice aligned with our contexts and the real world context that education is lacking sometimes to offer to our students. And using multimodal tests and inquiry-based exercises that are going to help our students communicate, and our teachers communicate who they are and what they want to learn with and from the others. I think I have shared some of my ideas. I don't know if I was too fast. When I get like happy, I just,
No,
flow.
no, everything you have said, dear Claudia, is so important. I've been taking notes and I will
I
watch
have
the
seen that.
and I will watch the video again. When you mentioned the benefits, I said, yeah, there are lots of benefits. And when you mentioned the challenges, I said, yes, we have lots of challenges. And the problems, we share the same problems. I don't know if Raj Gill, who's our expertise in listening and summarizing ideas, would like to say something. She's our president, but I just named her.
Well, I want to thank you for the presentation. It is so informative and it just talks about there are benefits, there are challenges. And what I really loved, is that the teacher serves as a resource rather than as a knowledge keeper and is going to give
Yes.
all the information, and I, as a student, will take from you. So the whole sense of collaborating with students, so we are learning together, which is directed by the teacher, but not owned by the teacher. The
Thank you, Raj.
technology. Yeah.
Yeah. You
I
see,
think we need to understand that, right? That we are in this community with teens or kids or adults, but we're like organizing a scenario for learning where we
yeah,
are just moving some resources, or so we are part of the mediation, but we're not the only ones, and we are
That's it.
growing together. But sometimes, or unfortunately, we just have some technical ideas that I have to do this and I have to do the other, but we don't listen to their voices and our own voice. In that, if we do that, education is going to be better and better every time.
yeah. Thank you,
Value of
dear.
mutuality, value of mutuality.
Yes. As you see, I told you,
Amazing.
very well summarized. Thank you so much, dear Raj. Well, hello, dear Fernanda.
Thank you.
Nice to
Hello.
see you. Hello, dear Fernanda. Well, and the next one is Adriana.
Yes, microphone, 5
Yeah.
years later, and we're still talking with microphone off.
Well,
I am the next one. And just as my friends, I left a picture here. This is me. I teach kids, and I help leading a team of teachers from primary and elementary school, kinder through fifth grade. And I also work as a teacher educator. Eh, I really don't like saying teacher trainer. We don't just learn tricks, but we do much more. We educate ourselves and keep growing. And well, this is my everyday. I teach foreign languages. In this moment, I teach in a program for international schools that is focused on literacy and culture. And so I want to tell you a little bit about the experience of creating learning environments where learning can be meaningful and where we can debug some ideas that we're setting to our minds. So I am going to start by telling you expectations versus reality. Okay? My expectation when I became an English teacher was that I was only going to teach English. But when I said at home that I wanted to be a teacher, the first thing they told me, and I hope to get some reactions here, is really a teacher? You're smart. Why do you want to be a teacher? Why not an engineer? Why not parents trying to do the best for us. And teaching is not I mean, like, we are respected, we are necessary. We were the only ones who kept our job during the pandemic. Many other people did not have the chance. But I really felt, and I really feel, that that's part of who I am. Mm, Another part of that expectation versus reality is that many people say that your profession cannot be part of who you are or your identity. Who are you without your profession? I am many things, but I am a teacher. Yeah, I see myself leading a group of teachers, and then the best moment of my day is when I can tell a story to my kids, see one of their products, seeing them grow. So with this expectation versus reality, I want to talk a little bit about also the way that I learned English and how sad it is that I mean, I've been teaching for 22 years already, and the way that I learned English is the same way that many students are learning English and other languages, because we are world languages teachers. Many teachers are also teaching Spanish. Many languages teachers are now working in international programs as Spanish teacher assistants and so on. But just like in science, that we used to do the cell in Plato, in English, it happens the same. Many things haven't changed. And in this path, we are just repeating and facing fake scenarios that like do not feel authentic. I found a video in the internet, but last year we did a TikTok with Katie, and we decided to, be shameless and show you our TikTok. Because this is what I saw when I started learning English at school. Then on my first years at university, I did not study in a bilingual school. And this is what I see every day teachers are still doing, which is not wrong. Actually, there is this famous TikTok. But I just want you to tell me in the comments if you are seeing something like this. Just a minute, okay? We're not going to see it complete, but let me know if it resonates with you and if you can hear. Oh, now it's not running, but I hope it runs in a minute.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. What's your name? Jenny. And you? Maria Guadalupe. 50 years. And you? And 16. All you. Hobby you? Drag. And you? Dance. Oh, yes. And music band? And Charles and you? And you? I'll keep of music. Oh, I'm good. Excellent. And Netflix series? And Lost. And you? El Señor de los Cielos. Oh, yes.
So, role play. Do we still tell our students, how are you? And they say, fine, thank you. And you? Does it happen to you? Does it happen in your settings? Have you feel this is what we are listening from our students? Because this is the way I learned.
Yeah, it does happen.
It happens because we try to create scenarios that they do not feel authentic. So they are just either memorizing or doing many things just to comply with the grade. And it happens in schools, universities, English institutes, and we teachers tend to repeat the way in which we were taught. But then if we think now that we are in this academic area and let's say field, is this really the way that we talk? Is this really the way that we communicate? Of course, memory is an important exercise, but well, that's like my first idea. I'm gonna pin some ideas and we talk about it, okay? So,
Hello,
just like that, let's think if we ever heard any of this while we were learning or now that we are teaching. English opens doors. And we have many of our students from licenciaturas, from undergraduate programs working in call centers or deciding to take other careers or studying this major in teaching just because it's going to open many doors. I am still wondering which are those doors, because when we talk about English opening doors, usually we talk about getting a better salary. That was part of what my mom told me. My mom told me, oh yeah, so licenciatura. Okay, well, in English. Oh, good. So you can learn English and then you can become. Her first idea was a flight attendant. Her second idea was working as a translator. I mean, like many ideas different from teaching. How come? Teachers, wow. So English opens many doors. That's the first that I hear over and over. The second one, it sounded kind of interesting at the time. You can learn about other cultures because the grass is greener on the other side, right? Because we all, if you are 40 plus, I am 43. So we had this idea of the sitcoms that we watched on TV. So we were learning about culture. I keep moving my hands and I keep raising my hand accidentally, but well, yes. Let me lower my hand. Okay, so you can learn about other cultures. Yeah, because we are vessels that, I mean, like we keep absorbing things. And talking about absorption, the younger the better, because kids are like sponges. because they learn faster, because they absorb everything. But then in the end, they go to 6th grade and they still say I is, or hello, good morning, what's your name, fine, and you. But we keep saying that kids are like sponges. Just ideas here. Have you heard any of this? And the last one, and that is one that I face every day. After all these things, after opening those doors and learning about other beautiful cultures around the world, and after injecting kids English because they are like sponges, my teachers keep telling me that they do not have time, that all my ideas are beautiful, but that it's impossible in my context because I don't have technology, because I don't have internet, because I have so many things on my plate, because I have a book and a program that I have to cope with. So this is what I want to talk about today. These 4 ideas are the ones that I have the most conflict with. So what we need to tackle is how languages and culture are a bridge, are not only a window to look through, are not only a way to fill our brains with other things, but how language and culture are intertwined and necessarily connected, and how we bridge through language, no, because of language, and how it needs to focus on language functions, how we need to focus on what languages are for, because our toddlers do not learn to speak in the mother tongue, in the first language, because they want to open doors, or because they want to learn about other cultures, or because they want to get a better job, right? But what is the essence of learning a language? Your first, your second, or any other that you decide to learn at the time. And I'm going to close so you can stay, because I know I'm the last one and people start leaving, on how to do this for real. What are those meaningful practices? What are those essentials that probably don't fit all, but maybe can leave you with some ideas? Here in the Facebook Live, people are saying that we are opening doors but windows as well, and that we cannot always discuss this kind of challenges that we have in the classroom. So I'm very happy that you, just like us, we all teach in a classroom. I mean, like Katie at the university, Claudia now leading a group of teachers and also teaching actually high schoolers, and I am teaching kids but also educators, and these are conversations worth having. Let's tackle them then, because I talk a lot. So if I don't pace myself, we can be here until Noche de Velitas, you know? All right. I grouped them. The first one is English opens doors and you can learn about other cultures. Yes, languages are a key. They are a key and they truly open many things, especially brains, more than doors. So this is an idea that I like to work around when I teach educators, and is that we need to look at languages as mirrors, windows, and sliding doors. If we are going to use the doors one, let's go with sliding ones, friends. All right? Because it's not only about coming in another culture, but there are things that also come out of us. All right? So when I talk about languages as key, as keys, yeah, that truly open doors, I want to talk about languages as mirrors. Languages are not only for looking at others. Languages mirror who we are. They reflect our personal experiences. They reflect our cultural identity. Languages are not here for us to learn about others, but also to let others know about who we are. And in that who we are, that is the part that we are missing. I don't want you to think, yeah, beautiful, but I have a book from this publishing house that I have to. Yeah, we all do. We all have policies and we all have DBAs and we all have, yes, we have things to do with that. How are we helping our students use the language for showing who they are, for reflecting their own reality? Can we keep talking about artificial intelligence in rural settings? Are we going to keep teaching our kids using these dialogues like the Maria Guadalupe one? Or are we really inviting our students to see how languages also act as a mirror when I talk about my own culture? Can I teach through folk tales, but talking about my country folk tales? Or I keep talking only about the traditional ones from English speaking countries? And do not misunderstand me, because we are going to talk about other cultures. But the first thing we need to talk about is ourselves. What is our family like? What are our traditions? Why do our students know so much about mistletoe and the Christmas tree and the Christmas carols, but we are not talking about traditions that we have in our own classroom setting? Is it, if they are sponges, why do we keep saying, oh, they are too little to talk about this? Are we teaching them how to talk about this? When we take one of those units from a book that talk about environmental issues, and we ask them about environmental issues and they keep talking about recycling or saving the whales, what I tell my students is, how can we help our surroundings? And they say, we need to save the whales. Okay, let's go. Take your backpack. We are going to save whales. Can we do that? No, right? So let's talk about our school. Let's talk about your community. Let's talk about your neighborhood. What are those problems? How do we face them? What can you do from home to do this? And I use the unit from the book, but I talk about my community. When are we going to talk about the food that we eat? I don't know. I mean, not like I do not believe that is delicious, but do we all eat turkey for Christmas or New Year's Eve? Because, here is more popular to have tamales, ajiaco, lechon. This is why, and maybe if you were not at the beginning of the recording or it was not recorded, this is why we have this background. Today in Colombia, we celebrate Dia de las Velitas. Colombian teachers, did you talk about it with your students yesterday? How do you say this? How do you say, why don't you say turn on a candle, but we lit a candle or we light up candle? I mean, every opportunity in our classroom to talk about our reality, our likes, who we are, what our family is like, our traditions, is a mirror. That is the first thing. Now let's talk about windows. Language as a window provides insight into other cultures and perspective, but our culture is also other culture for somebody else. They are saying that we talk about that hallacas, ham bread, dulce de lechosa, and so on. Thank you, Profe Liberto. And how is it that, for example, media has shown us this superficial culture, and we think we know about other cultures, but other cultures also think they know about us. Do they know us? Because if I look around in videos in social media about Colombia, it's really discouraging what people know about Colombia. Thank God we have great singers. My God, they're good, even if I don't like some of their music. So people get to know us for something else now, like music, But what if what if this learning about other languages is also an invitation for our students to start talking about their cultures while we work in mirrors to others? Because that otherness, that is building intercultural awareness. Yes, we learn about other cultures. Festivals and traditions, a unit you have in your books. Famous people, a unit you have in your books. And what if our students prepare something that they can show to another culture? What if we have in this community of practice the opportunity for students to do, for example, a digital poster exhibit that we can send to our friends in Peru, to our friends in Canada, so they learn about our culture from the voice of our students? But definitely the first thing is that our students need to know their culture, because they know about others. And that takes us to language as sliding doors. And that is like language invites exploration of new worlds and experiences, because I experience the world in a different way. And a way of being empathetic instead of sympathetic is understanding that otherness. Even in Colombia, we don't have the same way of speaking in the coast and in the south region. Even in Colombia, many of our students think that the Amazon region is just the rainforest, And when we say, but there is a university and a hospital in ways, and oh, in the Amazon, and the Jaguars, yes, good, in the part of the, the little part. But so when we talk about sliding doors, it also happens within the countries. Piura, Lima are different, right? And
Right.
they do have things that they celebrate in a particular way. Bogota and Medellin are different. Listen, I go to visit Medellin often for many different reasons. And they can tell I'm from Bogota in 2 seconds. In Bogota, we call everybody Besi, like vecino. It's a very nice way of calling our neighbors. And in Bogota, we say Besi, you know, to everybody. Gracias. Thank you, Besi. Goodbye, Besi. Besi, can you please give me this? Can I have this and that? And when I go to Medellin, I mean, like when I'm getting when I'm getting out the cab and I say, gracias, Bessie, they say, you're from Bogota, just like this, not even, I mean, like the accent is pretty obvious, but there are differences within regions, imagine now within countries. So these sliding doors, these are really the doors that English is opening. As I said before, our students are not learning English because they want a better future. They want to tell us about their pet. They want to tell us about their family. They want to tell us about the way the last time Granny came and visited. I love seeing the Facebook Live because they are talking about vallenato now. All right. So languages and culture. Languages are so linked to culture that are a way to know in depth, sorry, who we are and the otherness, but not only receiving cultures, showing ours is a key element. And that is like the first way in which we can start debunking these things. Now, second group, the younger the better. You have no idea when people say, is that kids are like sponges? The tick in the eye is like, it starts clicking. And also that all these things are so beautiful, but so impossible in our contexts. Why is that my eye does that? Because that makes our students in fifth, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, or when they are beginning their undergraduate program to believe that this is very, very difficult. When English is very structural, and we know that with 10 structures we can speak in English. But try to speak in Spanish. Oh my God, we have 5 different conjugations for each verb, depending on the subject. And we have things that we even joke about with my friends here. So when a topic is very difficult to understand, or when we have to attend a professional development that is complicated, as I say, that is the pluscuamperfecto. I still don't know what it is. I teach Spanish, by the way. I have no clue. I mean, but I can tell you what I can use it for. Probably we are teaching many things. Here we have a comment in the chat, and it says that with the newcomers, teacher Clara is telling us that with the newcomers students in the United States, she has been able to talk about geographical features, religion, urban myths, legends, that all those things are included in the standards. Good, but yeah, we can talk from a very personal way. Now back in this, I have a lot of pop-up windows, but well, back in business. So our kids do not learn easier. They need to learn less. That's it. Our students, our preschoolers, communicate on basic structures in both first and second language. They only need to use the structure of this is a plus adding an adjective. And when they say that, and when you give up a sentence frame, they can communicate about my favorite. My favorite, blah, 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 is blah, blah, blah. And with that, they can speak using 30 complete sentences, which is really valuable, not because they are sponges, but because what they have to communicate is different. Yeah. What brings me to language functions. When we talk a language, when we learn to communicate, when we move, when we are toddlers and we move from pointing the bottle to saying I'm hungry, yeah, is because we have a need to cover. What are those language functions? This is according to WIDA, but this is also like, of course, we know that we have the aesthetic and many others, but just talking about communication, we need to narrate. We need to narrate our lives. We are here to tell who we are. That's why, as toddlers, we move from pointing the barrel to saying, I am hungry, because I am expressing something. I am showing who I am. Yeah. Through different feelings, through emotion, through need, through. So, this is the function, the first function, narrating. Don't we do that in our classroom? Is it that impossible? Because remember, I'm mixing, I mix things. So is it that impossible to teach our students how to talk about themselves? How to retell a story that is one of the speaking and writing elements in our standards. So don't we talk about narrating? I mean, like, why don't we talk about ourselves? What are we doing with that narrative part of the language function? Second one, arguing, complex reasoning, and high interaction. And here is where my teacher starts saying, oh, but that is for older kids. That's for grown-ups. And there is where grown-ups say, but kids are like sponges. And the thing is, adults need to communicate more complex ideas. So no, it's not that our kids are sponges, it's that they need to communicate simpler ideas. We need to communicate more complex ideas. So we require a little bit more of practice. And in both cases, when I move from narrating to arguing, I am moving from identifying in Bloom taxonomy to evaluating, analyzing, and creating. When my students can argue, can agree, and can disagree, when my students can tell me what they don't like, when I ask them, what makes you say that? When I tell them, show me in the book where that evidence is. What part of the story makes you say that? Why do you disagree with what the other student is saying? We are jumping in Bloom. But they are using the language for what they want to use it. I don't know if you have seen this meme from Sofia Vergara that says, do you know how smart I am in Spanish? Because she cannot fight with her husband, she cannot have an argument with her husband about an important topic, and that's the way we feel. I have many opinions, my students too, my adults too, my educators too, but they also use this. Or just here, just between us, don't your students or your children argue? They don't, because they don't have complex language. Because the language function addresses the complex thinking. And our students, believe it or not, they do think. They have an opinion. They disagree. They have things they like and things they don't like. And they need to also learn that sometimes we have to do things we don't like studying, waking up early. We don't like it there, But they might not have the language, but they do have the thinking. And for a very long time, we were taught that if our thinking level was here, our language level was here. And it varies. I can see a comic, if in Russian about animal violence, and I can have an opinion about that, even if I cannot express my idea in Russian. So I find other ways of communicating. The next language function is informing. Informing requires less interaction. And this is also something we can do with our students. Actually, we can move from narrate to inform, and then we move over arguing where they require more language structure. We are going to talk about how to do it in a minute or two if I just speak up. So informing our ideas, showing what we have learned. I allow my international students, for example, to look for information in their first language. And then they have to present that in the target language. With that, I guarantee that they are not translating, that they are using transfer. I guarantee that they understand the power that being multilingual and multicultural is, that they can look for information in any language and have all that information processed, filter, organize. And if you can only tell me 2 or 3 ideas in the target language, you are using informing language function. The part that I need to teach is the structure. And for that, we have scaffolding and we have lots of emergent active pedagogies. Even in some of them, they don't have to talk. but they can present through writing, yeah, through making ideas possible and visible. And the fourth language function is explaining. And it says, according to WIDA, explaining complex concepts requires high complexity, low interaction. And in here, I'm not talking about language itself. The complexity of explaining relates also in the thinking. Because then I can teach my students through a how-to book, through a sequence, through writing a science report using sentence frames. Then I pick the verb tense that I am going to use and I teach them that verb tense. But what I am doing is addressing the language functions that are totally connected to the thinking functions. So bloom everywhere. So these ones in here that our kids are like sponges, our adults too, they just require different structures. We work on the structures as English teachers, but it is not impossible. When I start addressing thinking, language emerges because language responds to the needs that we have to communicate. Languages respond to the needs that we have to show what is in our heart, in our brains, right? Well, so how do we do this? How can we do this through effective practices? First, we need to be connected to our students' context. Yeah, we need to understand that the ideas need to be connected to the cohesive understanding. When I select a topic for my class, the first thing that I need to do, if you have a book like many of us do, is to check on the unit that we have, what is the objective of that unit in terms of language, and then select a content that also addresses the reality. That connection makes it real, reflects genuine situations, challenges that they have, emotions that they have to face. So when they go to narrate, inform, argue, or explain, they are doing it about something that is meaningful to them. The Maria Guadalupe video, it's not that I feel proud of it, but it was really fun making. They talk about, for example, their favorite series. Their favorite series is in Spanish. Yeah. The favorite food is in Spanish. Teacher, how do you say ayaca? Teacher, how do you say tamal? Teacher, how do you say? Yes, cool. Why don't you explain me what a tamal is? Try to use the language. Let's look for that vocabulary. There are so many things that we can do when we talk about any topic. These three are basically the same, connected to our students' background. Real, not so fake scenario. I have to tell you that on my first semester at the university, I had to memorize 2 dialogues. One was about a visit to the zoo, and the other one was about the coffee shop. But I was 16, and my mother didn't give me permission to go to the coffee shop, and I had never visited a zoo. So, because I was too young. So even in first semester of university, I had to go from the university to my house, from my house to university. Then things happen. But it was not real. I was thinking, I never go to a coffee shop, but I do go to buy things for lunch, at the grocery store, at the small store in my neighborhood. I've never been to a zoo. Maybe I can learn about animals in Colombia, and maybe then I can learn about animals in other parts. And maybe that scenario, even when it's kind of fake, would be more authentic if I talk about animals that I do know. Maybe if I can talk about the place where I live. Yeah. Because I used to go to a bakery and buy the bread for breakfast, and I used to go to the little grocery store to buy things for lunch, and I also had to bargain, and I was learning it in cents and dollars. But I lost so much money when they gave me the money back buying things in pesos. So yeah, that's something that, yeah, they should teach us at home. They teach us in Spanish. Can we teach that in English? Can we talk about that if we were if all the people that is in this moment in the meeting could open the microphone, could you explain the way that you bargain in your little store there in your neighborhood? Because we know it in dollars, you know, but do we know it in pesos? Do we know it in soles? Do we know it in, you know, like make it real, connected to your students' reality. There it is meaningful. Yeah, talking about pets, for example, and not all pets are the same, especially in Latin America. We have different kinds of pets. The other day, one of my students was talking about the capybara. I told her that in Colombia we call it the chigüiro, and she was saying that it was so beautiful because she saw it in Encanto. And I said, chigüiros are both beautiful and delicious. And, and my kids were like, Adri, no, why do you say they're delicious? And I was like, they are. And in Colombia, in Llanos Orientales, we do eat the chigüiro. And I have tried it. And we also eat cow, and we also eat a pig, and we just change the name so it doesn't sound that animal. But it is a reality. And it was really meaningful because they started talking about the food of the places where they are from and the different animal protein, for example, that they, just because of a comment, just because I was being authentic and being like honest about how delicious the capybaras are. But we don't call them capybaras, we call them chigüeros. Capybara sounds more like a pet. And there are people who have them as pets. So what? All these things are like to remind you how real it needs to be meaningful. And that's why we are so passionate about what we are talking about today, because each of us is talking about the area that moves her feelings. Then we go over scaffolding, and here is where we talk about teachers being teachers finding the words, teachers providing support, linguistic, with learning differentiation. We provide all the scaffolding part. This is what we do every day in our classes, explaining 300 times in 300 different ways, etc. And then with all these emergent active pedagogies that we are now talking about, we have project and problem based. And is that we can work with interdisciplinary projects working on different areas within our class, but also we can talk about multidisciplinary projects working with other teachers in communities of practice. And but I teach English, now I have to teach science? No, you don't only teach English. Teachers, nobody goes to the classroom to teach linguistics. We go to our classroom and we use excuses. Those topics that we use as excuses are part of project and problem based. When we talk about environmental issues, we are talking about science. When we talk about community helpers, we are talking about social studies. When we teach our students how to read figures in an article that is informative, we are talking about math and how to read graphs. So we can work with other teachers, or we need to become a little bit more aware that we are also teaching content and that our classes use a lot of discipline excuses, so we can make it also more connected through project and problem based. But I'm gonna tell you how do I do all those things in class, because yes, that sounds like a lot, and I get emotional also. Wow. I get excited and emotional. So here it is. What do I do in class? First, comprehensible input, that according to Creation, that is my academic crush, is that our teacher needs to do everything that is possible, everything, for our students to understand the message. And then you are going to say, so I do that every day. Yes. I call it the ACRG, you know, as teachers, we are, and this, and is your house big or small? And is it soft? Is it hard? I mean, like, we use so many different ways. In so many different ways. For example, our total physical response in the way that we bring slides, images, graph, print-rich environments in our class, having vocabulary cards, working with Pictionaries, all those many things that we do are part of the comprehensible input. Not only standing in front of everybody and giving the information, but from the PowerPoint presentation that you have, from the piece of cardboard that you use, from the drawing that you are making, from the ACRG when we talk with our hands. All of that is comprehensible input. I need to plan that ahead. When I am doing my lesson plan, I plan with at least 3 different resources. So my students are receiving it visual, auditory, and also through my voice with a hand symbol that helps them connect what I am saying to the message. So they start making that connection, especially now that there are so many schools that have no Spanish policy or English only policy. And they say you cannot use translation. A word here and there doesn't harm, you know? If you have to use 1 word or 2 words so your students get the message, that's okay. But if you are using all your instruction and then you are translating all your instruction, our brain is a super lazy muscle. The brain is going to automatically say, oh, she's speaking in English, but in a minute, she will say all that in Spanish. Why would I matter paying attention? But if I use comprehensible input with 3 different ways of approaching an instruction, and I plan it, and I have a slide or a visual, plus my hands, plus using, for example, cognates that are these friendly words. So in here, we are making sure that our students know what we are talking about. Then we have to use all of our students' linguistic repertoire. Our students are not empty vases. They are not there for us to fill them with vocabulary for the 100 words of the spelling bee contest that they don't use. So we need to look for that linguistic repertoire that we have, especially in these times in which we have so many migrant students, in which we can use what is the easiest way in which my students can connect the vocabulary or the things they already know with the comprehensible input. We need to try to make our students understand that structures change. Part of the linguistic repertoire is as simple as telling my students in Spanish, we would say the house white because we use the color after the noun. But in English, we use it before, so we say the White House. So I have to look for international references. I have to understand and know my students, know where they are from, know the way in which probably they tell something in their own language. For example, when I say, I have a student that is from Brazil, if I say brinco, he will understand joke, but my Colombian students would understand jump, you know? So I have to try to understand who they are, what is their linguistic repertoire, how can I play a little with the metacognitive strategies that teach them that we have language variations, but we also have many similarities and work with cognates. So I plan in my classes strategies for making clear for my message to be clear, but I also have to plan ahead what is some of the vocabulary and vocabulary structures that I am going to use. And that leads to language and content objectives. This is very psyop and a little bit of very clear, but this is important. In our class, we address a language objective and we address a content objective. When I talk about a future and technology in the future with my 5th graders, my language objectives is that they understand the difference between will and going to. But my content objective is that my students are able to narrate, inform, explain, or argue. And how are they going to do it? Are they going to do it through which of the productive skills? Are they going to do it in front of everybody? Am I going to expose them in front of everybody? Or maybe I can organize in here for language and content objectives. I think students will talk about technology in the future. How? Productive skills. Are they going to speak in front of everybody, or I can do a poster exhibit where 10 students are presenting and the other 15 are rotating? So they have to repeat the information over and over in very short chunks of time, in which they are going to do it many times with little exposure to small groups, instead of one person standing in front of everybody saying something memorized or reading from a poster. Are my students going to present their project in a written way? How many editions are we going to have? Which errors are we going to allow? When am I going to work on feedback for the language or the content objectives? Because is it going to be an essay? Because when I went to university, I realized I didn't know how to write an essay. So, or is it going to be a well-structured paragraph that they write over and over until they include details? I use color coding. Before my students give me a paragraph, I ask them to underline in green the where, in yellow the when, in blue the who, in red the what. And if they don't have the 4 colors, they are missing something and they have to go and revise what they are missing. then bring it, then we pair share, we have feedback, then we edit, and then we present. All that is the scaffolding, and all that is the visible thinking. Visible thinking strategies that are originally from Project Zero, Harvard University. That's the way you can find them in the internet, Project Zero. They also have like this variety that is artful thinking. That is how, what I was telling you, if my ideas are here, but my language is here, in visible thinking, we are even. We give our students choice. We teach them how to use graphic organizers. We teach them thinking routines in which they can use basics like I see, I think, it makes me wonder, I used to think, but now I think. All those thinking routines that seem so basic, we are providing our students with half of the sentence that they only need to complete. And with that in mind, our students are using visible thinking strategies, scaffolding, sentence frames, and all the language that we are teaching, all the content that we are teaching through language, through modeling, through honoring that they already have a linguistic repertoire with lots of comprehensible input to make their thinking visible, to show us that they can narrate, explain, argue, and inform about their culture, blah 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 blah. And back into 20 minutes ago that I was talking about this. When we do that, our students bloom like flowers, but bloom in the bloom academic way as well. Our students need to move from repeating in identifying to actually using that to describe, to analyze, to evaluate, to create, to give peer feedback. Working with problems and project-based learning has helped me a lot. I have talked about maps and conventions, to talk about geographical features, for example, in Colombia, explaining the different weathers that we have. In each, we call them pisos térmicos. They are like that would be like biothermical levels, according because of the mountain, and talking about the products that are in each of the regions, and if it is similar to places they know. So I teach them sentence structures. I have visible in my classroom sentence frames, and then they work on a small project that can be individual or in group. And when they are going to present, we do it in small groups or like stands, like a fair, or like a publishing party for their texts. Some of them, because in my school, we do have the technology to do so. We record videos, and then what we show is the videos, lowering the anxiety levels, allowing our students to show all their thinking, having less exposure in front of everybody, being able to make mistakes, and creating with our students a possibility of a learning community in which mistakes are okay because we are all learning, but we are getting there. There is where transfer happens. There is where our students stop translating and start showing us who they are. This is what I wanted to share with you, how to make it real, how to make it meaningful. Friends, this works with kinder up to my master's students. For real, I'm telling you about something I did last week. So it's if it looks like so much on your plate, you do plan. I mean, like, you plan for your classes, no? And when you plan vocabulary, you plan instruction, you plan resources, you plan outcomes. It's the same, just more purposeful. So this is like the invitation. We do have some conclusions if we have some time that my friends want to share, but so this is how I close this part that makes me like really
No.
energetic.
Thank you so much, dear Adriana, Claudia, and Kaithie. Of course, you will have a few minutes for your conclusions. I don't know if anybody here in the audience wants to say something, or make a question or make a brief comment.
Can I say something?
Of course, Juan Rios Vega, go on.
Yeah, I have to say something because I know these three amazing ladies and speakers. They are good friends of mine. So they are the best ambassadors of ASOCOPI Colombia, because that's a space that I visit every single semester because it's a welcoming space. So kudos for all of you. You have done an amazing job, and you're very, very passionate. I took a lot of notes. When I go to Colombia next year, we can sit and talk about your all your knowledges, because I I learned so many things. The only thing I want to mention that Adriana didn't mention was, I mean, she talked about it while she was speaking, but she didn't specifically talk about translanguaging, because when she was talking about students, allowing students to get information in the heritage language or languages, and just using that information within their linguistic repertoire and use that in English because that's a target language. That is an example of translanguaging. So I just want to bring that up. But something else that I love is the way you defined language as a mirror, language as a window, and language as a sliding door. I didn't know the sliding door piece. So is that something that you created or something you borrow from another expert?
I'm sure I heard it somewhere else, and I've been adapting. I've been adapting, especially because something else that I didn't mention is that I cannot conceive a class from kinder up to 12th grade without reading a story at the beginning of my class.
Yeah.
Because literature, there, friends, you have everything you need there.
Yeah, and I probably have questions for every one of you ladies, but Claudia, wonderful. I love when you discuss about teachers agency, building relationship, collaborative culture. Kaithie, it is alarming about when you mentioned the decline of enrollment that also happens within the states. That's not only Colombian situation. Also, you push us as teachers to be updated with technology and just our roles in the classroom. Now, but one thing that I want to close up my comments about here in ASOCOPI is the fact that you talk about language acquisition, language development. But the key point here and the magnet that brings me back to Colombia every year is the unique approach that you guys do to language development. You have a social justice component in that conference. You raise the voices of communities that have been invisible and oppressed for years, not only in Colombia, but in many other countries in this continent, which is the indigenous communities. So I've been to ASOCOPI, and you have done an amazing job empowering teachers in rural areas, for example, where they use indigenous communities, heritage languages as a bridge, as a trampoline to access a new language without devaluing their linguistic value in their community. So anyway, I just want to wrap up, congratulate you. I couldn't expect anything else from you because you're amazing. That's it.
Thank you so much, dear Juan. Thank you, Juan Rios. Where are you
Juan.
from, Juan Rios?
Yeah, I'm from Panama, but I live in Illinois.
Okay, thank you so much because it's
Let
been
me
a while. Hello, nice seeing you.
Yes.
Thank you for a wonderful wrapping up about these three wonderful ladies. I've been in shocked because all the wonderful pieces of information about artificial intelligence, students and teachers reality, about Jesus, community of practice, the benefits, and from instrumental English to meaningful learning. It's been lots of information, and I need to watch this video again, and I'm sure that many people will do it. So it's time. You're wrapping up, Juan Rios. It has been wonderful. So you have captured every single thing that everyone wanted to say. So it's time for you ladies to make your final comments today. But before, let me, if you stop sharing your screen, please. Thank you so much. And just let me remind you that our last conference, our last webinar this year will be on December the 21st. We will have Gracia, Isabel, Rana, Mary, and Raj expressing our deepest gratitude to life. So I would like to give a chance to Raj before you express your final ideas. Raj, please, if you could please say something on behalf of our community.
Oh, thank you, Jaime. And thank you to all of you. And it has been so important. You talked about the importance of connection. We want to connect with our students. We want to make sure it's relevant, something they will be able to use. And the other thing that I wrote down was also make it meaningful. If it's not meaningful, they're not engaging. And you offered in a way that we can continue to look at our role as a teacher. And I think that was an important piece for me to look at because teachers were the source of knowledge. We were going to impart the knowledge to them. But now we're collaborators, we're partners. Thank you so much. I will watch the video again.
Yes,
It was
definitely.
brilliant.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, dear Raj. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, ladies, we will start with Adriana for your final comments this morning. Thank you so much, Adriana.
Well, Jaime, we made a decision because I that's why I'm last and I talk a lot. Uh,
No,
so
no, you don't. No, you
to make
don't.
a big closure, a big closure.
Okay,
The first, my only idea here would be we are teachers. It doesn't matter how many publishings you have. It doesn't matter how many um, research you've made, which university you teach at. We are teachers, as simple and as complex as it is. But we are going to close with some ideas from Claudia and some ideas from Katie.
Well, after listening to Adriana, yes, we are teachers, and that's the best title ever. And teachers need to believe we need to belong to strong communities because we need to drive educational change. It's not the others, it's us. And for this, we need to work on collaboration, sustainable structure, believing in our different roles during different moments, and to understand literacy as dynamic and as a multimodal practice, and reading all the time. And the last part of this conclusion is that we need to belong to a democratic and responsible community that ensures sustainability. If we don't work together, things are not going to happen.
yeah.
Well, there's a final remarks and wrapping up all this a lot of information. So we have to create a huge network of teachers being part of associations like ASOCOPI, as we are part of, but there are hundreds of associations and groups and networks. It's important to have an engagement to all the productive sector, not only teachers and teachers, but teachers with schools, teachers with government, teachers with many institutions. It's also important to have an active participation of the alumni. All of the students that graduate sometimes disappear from the radar. We don't know what they're
Right,
doing.
right.
We have to have an overall impact on educational and professional quality. We need to get to the point I mentioned earlier, which is we need to keep on learning. And the last one, it's to back to the essentials. Who are we teaching and why do we teach?
Yeah. Why do we do what we do? That's what Mary Scholl always asks. Why
Yes,
do we do?
exactly. Well,
So,
thank
so Adriana, I would like you to address a few words and to our community and to the people who were listening and watching you on Facebook Live and who will watch this video later.
Friends, we teach the students we have, not always the students we wish we had. And those are the ones we have to think about. We can teach the same lesson every year, and there are still things we need to change. It doesn't matter if you teach kindergartens, if you teach adults, if you teach older people. First, we are lifelong learners, no? Second, we teach the students we have. Those are the ones that we need to know, that we need to address, that we need to read to, that we need to be interested in. And third, kids do think. They have more in their heads that they have in their words. Give them a chance to talk, give them a chance to show what they think. Our idea is to help them bloom. And I am really happy to be sharing this, especially today, that is like a very beautiful day for us here in Colombia because of our tradition, being with my friends, seeing some of our friends in the audience as well. And Jaime, I think that getting to know each other in our cultures is truly important, as important as it is getting to know the students that we have in the class. We need to know them because if we don't know them, we cannot talk to them. We are just talking. So that's like my closure. Think about him.
Yes, you 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 have made me think a lot, and not only me, but everyone here. Thank you, Adriana. Claudia, thank you so much. Claudia,
Thank you. It has been an amazing day. Definitely, my invitation is we teachers, we need to work together. We need to listen to each other because even though we feel that we are alone, we are not. And what you're living is maybe what I am living. And if we sit together and study together or have a cup of coffee or tea together, we start finding ideas to solve our situations, to educate ourselves, and then to teach. And I'm going to copy Adriana, the students we have, because that's what we have. There is a song in Colombia that says, eso es lo que hay, that's what we have. So we need to work with that and give the best. And thank you for this invitation. It has been an amazing morning, and I'm really glad to, and I'm honored to be here today.
so are we, dear Claudia. Thank you so much once again. And finally, Kaithie Ramírez.
Well, as Adriana and Clau mentioned, well, this has been an honor to be here today, sharing what we are passionate about, what we do every day, and that would be like the message, sharing and sharing with other teachers, sharing with colleagues is important. Not because you think it's small or it's irrelevant, because you are only doing it in your classroom with a few students, it doesn't mean it is not worth sharing. So everything a teacher does in the classroom matters and
Right.
is worth sharing.
Yes. So thank you, Adriana, Claudia, and Kaithie. Once again, I must confess that I feel that I know nothing about the three topics you've been presenting, and I was thinking, wow, how much they know, how much expertise they have, and I just admire once again the quality of the professors in Colombia. We always think that Colombia, Mexico, Argentina, Peru, Ecuador, and all the countries in Latin America and in other parts of the world are very good professionals, but it's the passion and the inspiration we have that makes the difference. So thank you, dear Adriana, Claudia, and Kaithie, and see you in two Sundays. Have a very nice day of velitas in Colombia, and I'll see you, Raj and Mary and Isabel and Gracia and Rana on December 21st, 4 days before Christmas. So goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. See
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye
Have a
Take
good
bye.
care.
day.
Bye
Take care.
bye.
Bye
Thank you,
bye. Thank you.
everybody.